Or did I just... No, this is nothing. Says I'm online. What, oh, did I just click on the wrong thing? No, this just says let me see here. I don't understand what's going on here. Okay. There's that default whatever thing. Yeah, I'm not sure I know what's going on. Uh, so, all right, I'm just I'm just gonna turn on everything and see what happens. I like using the backup server or restream. Can I just refresh this? Is that a possibility? Uh, right. Something could maybe come up here. Oh yeah, there it's working now. I don't know what happened. I just turned a bunch of stuff on and I don't know. Two people watching on Twitch supposedly, but I don't know who they are. And I don't have my chat client up. Uh, the beta. Um, okay. So the tab is muted. Um, I could just do this, right? Or I could just do is that how you do it? No. Out it's opposite. Here we go. How you do it. Right. And it sure enough is muted. Um I guess I'll bring this up. I don't know if I should bring up like a Trovo window. Trovo doesn't conform to the chat client. So I don't know if I want to bother like setting. Not sure if I want to call. I don't know. Heck. All right. Okay. That it? Okay. Well, uh, I'm not really sure what I'm doing here. I think I'm gonna this is like I said, it's gonna be a short stream. I was kind of experimenting around a little bit. Oh, right, and I had my stream settings turned down super low, and looks like you could do it, but I for some reason I couldn't do it on the fly. So I wonder if I could ramp them up on the fly now, because I was actually experimenting with to see if it was possible to lower them. But um, I guess I can turn them up, right? Uh, all right, sure thing. Let's see if it'll let me go up. Okay, now it's letting me go up. So technically that should improve the quality, right? I think that's done that, right? And then if I wanted to if I wanted to turn it back down, would it let me now or not? Let's see. Let's see if I go down to 200 again. Let's see what'll happen. Now it will let me. Okay. So yeah, it's gone down to, 200 plus 160 for the audio. And so it is working. I'm not sure why I'm doing that. I'm just doing it because whatever. All right. All right, I'm going back up to 4,000 now. That should clean up things a bit. It's amazing how good it looks at 200, considering. Um, yeah, it's interesting. Okay. I'm experimenting with the tilting these glasses down. It doesn't seem to make much of a difference as far as the way they they perform, but uh go down just a little bit more. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, that works. So so that generally keeps the reflections down. So there's the screen, right? I'd have to look up. So that generally works better, you know. Um yeah, so we're back to like an experimental level here. I'm watching a video where I don't want to show. Well, I could show it and mute it, but it's got lots of copyrighted music on it. So I'm watching Rick Beato. He's breaking down a Jaco Pastorius tune on his first solo album, and Jaco is awesome. He's a troubled soul, but um, kind of an amazing musician. I don't know why he had so much trouble making a living or whatever, because he played with some of the top people and he had a solo career, and I'm not sure what was going on with him. He could play anywhere with anyone. Um, Played with Pat Metheny and jazz greats, and Joni Mitchell, folk greats, and I mean Joni Mitchell used him on several albums, and got just amazing performances out of the man. And of course Yako died very young. I think he died in like a bar fight or something. Uh, and it just is such a sad thing, because he was just so talented. There was nobody quite like him. Uh, um, I don't think there's anyone quite like him even now. There are people that have copied his style and tried to like elaborate on it. When you think he had a Fender jazz bass that had the frets pulled out, and he just filled it and sanded it. He didn't even have like a uh his fretless bass was homemade. So um he just had the idea to do this. It was just completely his own idea to create a fretless bass, and he was decades ahead of his time, I suppose. uh like in the 70s, I think Fender made a fretless, but I'm not sure. Um Yako's bass was just it was just a standard Fender jazz bass with the frets pulled out of it. In fact, actually, Rick Beato in this video is using the same bass that that Yako had, but with the frets still on it. But it's the same bass. It's the classic Fender jazz bass. I'm not even sure if they make it anymore. They probably do. I don't really know. Uh, it's hard to keep up when time marches on, but everything's different now. Amps are different. Um, uh, so yeah, Yako's album came out in '76, I guess. So probably most of the work was done in '75, I would guess. It took forever to make an album back in those days. They used to spend a lot of time in the studio and when they're in their private endeavors. I don't know. Here I am talking about jazz and not playing any music, and I don't know. I could conceivably play, like, just go on Bitwave and just open it up and play and show and tell, but What am I looking at there? I was silent for a long period of time, and um, I don't know. It looks like there's quite a delay over my monitor at Restream. Not sure what's happened. See, well, that's there actually is kind of a fretless keyboard, you know. Um, it's kind of like it's got bumps on it, like where the black keys would be, but you can slide your fingers. You can slide your fingers anywhere, and you can play anywhere on it. I can't remember what it's called though, but pretty cool actually. I thought about getting one. A friend of mine sent me a couple of videos of it. Um, Sent me like a video of like Tony Levin and some other people like that playing it, and yeah. You must be a musician. Um, um, but yeah, I was watching Rick Beato talk about Jaco Pastorius, and I just remember, you know, my um experience first hearing him. Like, I think I heard him on, I didn't hear him on the Pat Metheny album. I think he was in a band called Weather Report. um Joe Zawinul, Wayne Shorter, Peter Erskine, and Jaco Pastorius. So that would be in the mid '70s. I think that's when I first heard him, and then I heard that Joni Mitchell, which I didn't listen to folk music back then, but I heard that Joni Mitchell was had musicians like that, like really good jazz musicians in her albums. And I said, well, maybe, you know, I shouldn't, because I didn't listen to you know, emotional stuff about the human condition when I was a kid, you know. So I just I listened to really hard to play music. That was my thing. And so um and so I then the Yako solo album came out, and uh I remember hearing there were a bunch of really great tunes on it. Um and I don't know if he made another album or not. I mean, he died very young. I think by the I think by the 80s. I don't remember exactly, but I mean, he was just such an amazing guy. Um, yeah, the C wave or whatever, you know, it had bumps for the where the black notes would be, but yeah, I don't know. It's pretty cool though. It looked like it would be a pretty fun looked like it'd be a pretty fun keyboard type instrument to play. Um what I have here in the studio is, as if you would call it a studio, that's a CLP 880 in the background there. And then this is a Roland A88. Uh it's got a it's got um a triple pedal rig plugged into it, which is part of its capability, but it doesn't come with that. So you have to order that separately, which I did. And um and then for piano sound, I usually use something called Piano Tech, which is just released a new version, which I have to get because it's so much better. Every time they release a major version, they improve the sound of it so much that um so I don't know. Yeah, they uh I did reverse my camera back, I guess, because I was using it as a mirror before. Speaking of being narcissistic. um uh um And you know, honestly, the most exposure I've had to corn was probably the South Park episode where Corn goes on a wacky mystery adventure, kind of like Scooby Doo. Uh, but um, I don't know. Are they still around? Are they still a thing? Corn. I think of Corn as kind of like an early 2000s thing. So Truth lives on D Live. Somebody showed up on D Live. Uh, uh how do I oh, here we go. Right? They're still touring, huh? Yeah. Well, I mean, I remember them as having a really good sound. So, yeah. Um Oh, Terry Bozzio, the drummer that got the drummer from UK. I didn't know that I assume that you mean Terry Bozzio, right? From UK, the band UK, I think. That wasn't that the drummer? I think he was the drummer. Um, so that was a band famous in the 70s, but they stuck around for a while. They had some really good stuff, as I recall. Why am I talking about music and not playing it? That's a good question. Um, yeah. He used to do drum clinics. I don't think I ever went to one of his, but um, back when I used to play the drums, I used to, well, I mean, like, you know, I was never really a drummer, but I decided to take up the drums because I liked the idea of playing the drums. And I would go to these drum clinics like Billy Cobham or you know, some of these famous jazz drummer guys, they would do clinics, they would tour around the country and they would do clinics and they'd talk about their drum techniques and stuff. And you could learn a lot from that. Um, so, uh, yeah, he was Terry Bozzio or Bozio. I'm not sure how to say his name. I always said Bozzio, but then I'd heard it was Bozio. But in any case, he was an awesome drummer, top notch, amazing drummer. Um, and I mean, he may still be around. I guess he is, but um, uh, yeah. And poor Neil Peart, he passed away fairly recently, I hear. So I guess that's the end of Rush. Rush was an interesting band because they kept together and they kept touring and putting on albums up until the end, pretty much. So I don't know if they plan to do more solo music or to continue to play, but um, I liked actually a lot some of their later albums that they did. You know, after they were super well known and stuff, they continued to make albums, and some of them were so solid and so nice to listen to. Um, they put out something in the there's an album they put out like in the mid 2000s that some people consider to be their their one of their best, if not their best. And I did hear it. Yeah. Um, I did hear it and I thought it was amazing, so I did enjoy it quite a lot. I do I do think they were they were one of the most amazing progressive rock trios. Um I never heard them in concert. Um but some of the concerts I went to as a kid, you know, like Gentle Giant, Renaissance. Probably the first concert I ever went to was Edgar Winter, and you know, as a big tour, and heard a lot of the jazz guys, you know, the jazz fusion, the rock fusion guys, you know, Chick Corea and Jean-Luc Ponty, and a lot of those sort of um, Frank Zappa spin-off musicians that started their fusion career with Frank Zappa, and then they all went on to have solo careers. Al Di Meola, um, Larry Coryell, you know, Stanley Clark, and you know, all that kind of the Chick Corea verse, I guess you could call it, or it's almost really better to call it the Zappa verse because really most of those early fusion guys that were so good and that everyone liked, that people listened to, mostly musicians and fans of musicians. Um, they they all most of them got their start with Frank Zappa in like the 60s, or I mean you could see some stuff like some TV stuff, it almost looks like it was done in the 50s, but I don't think it goes back that far. But his stuff was just really ahead of its time, and I don't know if he invented jazz. I don't know if Frank Zappa invented jazz rock fusion, but he certainly was one of the earliest practitioners of it. I heard some old stuff and it sounded so current, you know. I mean that they did in the 60s, and it sounded current like you would hear it today, you know, if you like that kind of music. Um, I mean, it could be that the genre went nowhere too. I mean, you could say that, I suppose, but I don't know. It's interesting that um, there's so many um, there's so many. Yeah, yeah. I think there are a few talented upcomers like in those newer fields. I don't like them. Like I don't like the rap guys that do not enunciate, and then I can't tell. They almost sound like they're ashamed of what they're saying, so they're covering it up by mumbling. Um, uh, I really like Jake Hill, and Jake Hill and Josh A. I think are amazing, and they did one time they did a collab with a female vocalist that goes by Simbex. And she has like she has about three original tracks, and also uh, has a band called, or is involved with a project called Pretty Pathetic, which I don't think is really as good. Like the only thing good about it really are some of the some of the tracks. The engineering is good, and I don't like the male vocalist in that as much. Um, the only collab that she did that I liked is the one that she did with Jake Hill. But her she has kind of this lazy way of singing behind the beat, and it's very compelling, and um um it complements her subject matter. It has a somnambulant kind of feel to it, which is uh to type that in all the chats, I guess. Right? If I'm gonna do that. I could have cut and pasted that, but so but yeah, but yeah, I agree. There's some. I really like some of the shredders. They're all really good. I especially like Steve Vai. Um, he has a real classy way of doing all that bendy, shreddy, lots of harmonics, kind of effects and stuff, and he just messes around with the guitar so much. Like it's almost like he never puts his guitar down, so he's always experimenting with it. I'm sure that's not the case, but he's uh he's kind of one of those people that during the pandemic thing, he actually started live streaming, and I thought that was kind of neat, you know. He would just sometimes he would do musical related stuff, or he would talk about music, or sometimes he would just talk about random subjects. And since he's a famous guy and he has a YouTube channel that mostly is known for his music, that he sort of started um he sort of started uh um he had some fairly good viewership, like someone like me, I don't even understand the algorithms. I don't even know how to get views. I don't know how to leverage my social media, and I don't have any followers on my social media. And I feel like rock is still around. It's a little bit more underground maybe, but there's some really amazing things. That's why I was talking the other day about balkanization, because basically these days everyone kind of is off in their own little world, and I mean you can listen to um uh yeah, Jake Hill on YouTube. Jake Hill goes by I am Jake Hill, I think. Um Very good. He even dared to write a negative song about Antifa, which I thought was pretty amazing. So, um, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have said that in a restream. That's just me being demoted even more if I say that, I guess. But um, um, Nobody's watching me on anything else anyway. Maybe I should just shut all the other services off.